You go?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Awesome. Making sure before I just dived into it. I realized I didn't ask if you were like, I asked if you were ready to record, but not asked if you were ready to go. So if you're like, yeah, let me just grab some water real quick. Let me take a big drink. Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Birthday Boy Warren.
Yay! Hooray, happy birthday. And I am Maddy Grace, not my birthday, Webbin.
And today we'll be playing the fourth part of the anime game that started it all, Tales of Symphonia. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week?
It's my birthday!
Hey!
Nothing bad happened last week. Not at all. Remember that thing we keep saying about implosions? Woo!
It'll be true one day.
Yeah.
Well,
one
technically,
day.
if I recall, nothing too bad has happened since that bad thing that happened, right?
Correct. Everything's been fine since then.
Since then, which is good. Improvement is always good.
Everything's good forever. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
I won't go into details. I will say RPers be fucking crazy.
You know what? I've gotten that impression, and that is low-key one reason why I've never engaged with it. It's not that I'm like assuming everyone sucks. It's just like, from what I've heard, maybe I should just do something else.
I have a very, very good group of friends who I RP with. They're a very small group. Much smaller after the events of last week. Yeah, and I've really hit the big time because I've been canceled.
Oh shit! I hate that shit.
Yeah,
but also I'm proud of you. That's true. I agree with you. One day I'll be as cool as you and we'll be canceled.
It was literally a cancellation. Like someone found a tweet that I had made and linked that in the Discord chat, and that was like the absolute point of no return. It was. It was like I was playing an RPG. And
obviously, I don't want
the
you.
PNR.
Obviously, you don't need to share. But I am curious as to which kind of tweet was it. Was it the? I said something legitimately dumb like 10 fucking years ago, but it was a dumb thing that I said. But it's really stupid that you're bringing this up and don't allow for the possibility of a person going. Or was it a tweet where you're like, no, actually, I stand behind that, and y'all are all wrong. I actually do still believe that, and it's correct.
It's the second.
Ooh.
It's absolutely the second.
Okay, now I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, because the situation. I'll make it as brief
you can
and
share
as vague
if you want.
as
I just didn't want to make you share.
Yeah, part of my concern is like who in the Final Fantasy RP community is going to listen to my podcast. But then I remember nobody listens to our podcast. So who do I fucking care?
Also, we're on Square Moratorium, so
yeah. They won't come back until we start talking about Final Fantasy again.
Great, let's never play a Final Fantasy game again. So basically, I was helping to run an RP venue that is a fight club. And this fight club, from the very beginning, when I had started working there over a year ago, has allowed characters that are under 18 to come into the bar and fight. I have never felt comfortable with this, but it was not my venue, and I really liked the venue owner, so I kind of went on I kind of went under the belief that, if she's okay with it, then fine. Like, whatever, mm-hmm. I'm not gonna make waves. I just work here. It's not my business. And I had a close friend working there as well. Like, we got into it together. I put in a fucking ton of work for this place. Like, I was their fight announcer for almost the entire duration of my time working there. And the last Friday, she said, I can't do this anymore. Here are the reasons. can you take over for me? And I said yes. And, you know, me and the close friends who were going to be on staff with me were discussing it, and we decided that we needed to implement an 18 plus rule for both in character and out of character. If you're under 18 in real life, or if your character is under 18, you cannot come in and fight at this bar. Because children should not be participating in fights. And what happened was they flipped the fuck out when I made this rule. I had been given the reins for about 2 hours at that point. Or no, it was longer than that, because I was deliberating it and I had to talk to one of the staff members who was playing a 16-year-old, and they flipped out. And then so I was finally like, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off and I'm going to give them the rule because I know they're going to be unhappy about it. They tore into me. They were absolutely vicious from the fucking start. I have 30 different images of these people absolutely ripping me a new one because I would not let their children into a fight club. And it got to a point, like several hours into it, literally hours, this went on. Maybe not several hours into it. I think it was about an hour into it, where I tweeted out, if the worst thing they say about me is he stopped letting children in the fight club, I'll fucking take it.
Yeah, that's the hill you're willing to die. You're like, yeah, I'll die on that hill. Again, mad respect.
Yeah. An hour passed. They're still going on about it. Someone found my tweet and pasted it in the chat. And they decided that I was a fucking monster at that point. And they already were acting like I was a fucking monster. It was brutal. And, like, I'm so glad that everybody who was on the staff for that venue was looking at this and going, oh my God, they're treating him so badly. All because he did something to try and align with his morals and his, his ethics. Because I'm not going to run a venue like that and allow children in. And yes, there is a whole slew of spunky anime teens who go off on wild adventures and get the shit kicked out of them. Sailor Moon is one of my absolute all-time favorite shows, and that's all about girls getting the shit kicked out of them. Like, they fucking die in the first season. They die in the last season. So, like, this is not something that I'm unfamiliar with, and it's not something I am uncomfortable with in specific settings. When you are an RPer, you are interacting with other people, other real people, and those interactions are wildly unpredictable. You cannot determine how someone is going to act toward you. And not everyone is going to know that your character is 16 because the Final Fantasy search info doesn't let you put in a lot of information. So what a lot of people do is they make things called cards. It's this website, card.co, spelled with 2 R's. Yeah. And it lets you make little websites. And so people
such as blacklivesmatter.card.co.
There we go. And so they'll make those for their characters to have a little character blurb. Not everybody's going to go look at those. Right. I can't be, as a venue owner, I cannot be spending my entire night going through every patron's card to see how fucking old they are, so that I can determine how my character needs to act around them. I didn't pick up that these were children going to this bar until, like, a while after I had started working there. And then when my very close friend and I figured it out, we were just kind of like, ooh, like, is this okay? Like, we were both kind of like, I don't know about this. Like, there's a world of difference between a static NPC or a static character in a single-player game where you control 0 of the interactions, and RPing where you control every interaction on your end and other people control it on their end.
Yeah, it's a lot more chaotic. It's a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more unprotected.
And there are real-world consequences for that shit.
Everything that I learned about the RP world, which was by taking ongoing harassment tickets at Blizzard, is like it like means a lot of shit to people. Like it's like emotions get so tied up in it, and if those emotions get tied up and the other party is 16 and doesn't have their emotions like regulated yet because they're a fucking child, like I no.
These are adults playing children.
Yeah, that too. But I'm just like,
yeah, no. But what I'm saying is they should be able to make that separation.
Yeah,
but they're not. I have played characters who are minors before, and I'm very, very careful about it. I only did it with like in a specific environment, and because when I did it in game in public, it became uncomfortable very fast. Mm-hmm. Like the friend that I was RPing with, who was also RPing a minor, like we had a story that we were writing for the school, and someone came up and started hitting on her character, and I had to tell them, dude, that character is a minor. Do not hit on them. And they didn't relent.
Yeah, no, so why not just make it where that can't happen, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't, and there are real world consequences. Like I've heard of all sorts of things just going badly for people, even because they just interacted with a minor in a video game. Like it's, you cannot take that shit lightly. And they were all accusing me of mixing in character and out of character. Like, they were the ones acting like a bunch of babies over their babies not being allowed into a bar anymore.
Yeah.
Also, I gotta say, obviously what you're saying is very important, and I care. But also, every time you say real-world consequences, it makes you think about Half-Life full-life consequences. Y'all know that?
No, but
it's just one of those infamous fan fictions.
Oh no!
And just because it's similar to what you're saying, every time you say it, it's making me laugh.
Regardless, I have new plans to open my own venue at this point
with blackjack and hookers.
Exactly. In fact, forget the blackjack and the venue. I have made that joke, yes. And I mean, I own a bigger house than the one that was being used for the fight club that I worked at, so whatever. And I am glad that the previous venue owner, who I gave that venue back to, like, almost immediately. Like, this all happened in a fucking day. They did not give me time. They kept going like, when's he going to respond? Why isn't he responding? And I'm like, you people were nitpicking the responses I gave earlier, so I'm trying to like gather my thoughts and also not have a fucking panic attack right now because you're literally all coming at me. Yeah, the venue owner was very, very sweet to me, and she was like, you did not deserve that. I'm probably just going to shut the venue down, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, I told her outright, like, I hope you do, because they don't fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
So, and today's my birthday. Yay. I had
I'm
fun
a little
this.
guy. I'm a little baby boy, and it's my birthday. You wouldn't hit a little guy on his birthday, would you? Have y'all seen that tweet?
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. It was fucking rough because they were all talking about how like this place is our home. This place is our home. I'm like, it's my fucking home too. Like, you all are treating me like I'm the literal fucking devil.
Yep.
So whatever, man. Like, I'm mostly over it. I'm still kind of heartbroken because like I did enjoy the RP there, but if they're going to be like that, I don't want to run a venue for them.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Sucks.
Also, one of my RP friends says hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I've been having a great week. I am now officially, as opposed to unofficially, I am now officially a member of Organization 13, which is to say I'm on the 13-person steering committee of East Bay DSA steering committee, I just said steering committee twice. I'm on the 13-person steering committee of East Bay DSA as an at-large member. I won my election. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't too hard for me to win because there were a lot of seats, but I was not one of the few people to not win. So I am now a member in leadership in this organization that I've been devoting the last few years of my life to, which is really exciting. In addition, I also am a delegate to the national convention. My little group of people was running 24 people to be on this convention list, and we won 18 out of 24, which is pretty good. That's 75%, which means that almost half of the delegation is my people, and also mad respect to the people who aren't in my group who also won, because they're all really good. I was looking through the list and I'm like, oh yeah, like yes, I was technically running against you people, but very good group of people, very low percentage of sickos or weirdo or freaks, and by that I mean trots. That's a joke. Real, whatever. Don't worry about it. I've been engaged in an online feud with Trotskyites for the last 2 weeks. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's not a serious feud, just like a funny feud. And anyway, other than that, my job, which was murdering me last week, is now not murdering me anymore. It's pretty chill. And finally, nice. I just found out, as Eli was explaining his drama, about some drama that's going on my end. However, I can't share it. It's very secret, but it's hilarious. And I am sort of vibrating about it right now. Luckily, it's not the kind of drama that makes me upset. It's the kind of drama that makes me say, LMAO. So that's good. I'm not going to say anything more about that. I'm kicking butt right now. I'm loving life.
Nice. I am also loving life because my favorite Dragon Quest is getting a very beautiful remake.
Which one is that?
Dragon Quest III.
Okay.
So it looks incredible. Holy shit.
So 2 weeks after the Switch comes out, or whenever the fuck it was, and they announce Octopath Traveler, everyone was like, you need to make Chrono Trigger in this engine, and you need to make Final Fantasy VI in this engine. And I always was like, meh, I don't know. It's kind of cool, but like the other ones are fine. And then they showed the Dragon Quest III in the Octopath Traveler engine, and I'm like, oh wait, no, yeah, just do it more like this and less like Octopath Traveler, and you can remake Chrono Trigger and
what makes it a perfect fit for DQ3 is a few things. First of all, DQ3 is like a perfect video game in many ways. Like it is like it's like a scriptural level text of like, this is the JRPG in its purest form. And a big part of that is its town design, its dungeons, its level design. So doing a remake that maintains that, because I did see in the one screenshot that they showed, that's the exact same town layout from the first town. They did not change it. So keeping this...
including the dumb early Dragon Quest, like, shops are just a square of brick outside, and it doesn't make sense. Now that everything's super beautiful, fully realized 3D, you just have this merchant hanging out with like dirt around him because that's what it was in the original, and they kept it exactly.
So doing an extremely faithful remake, but with this radically different art style, it's fantastic. I love the way it looks. Also, it maintains the fixed camera angle so that they get to present the game a certain way that is, again, still gives the impression of the original. Also, they turned down the special effects a whole lot from Octopath, which is good because I'm an Octopath defender. I like the way it looks, but even I will admit the effects were a lot. Okay, the bloom and the filters were objectively too much. So
they also did a thing that is very important, I think, for the future of the HD 2D thing that Square has going for it, is the environments are not pixel art anymore. They were in Octopath, and they are not here.
That's a big improvement.
So it's actually just HD Xenogears engine, and I'm okay with that.
It's kind of like DS4, 5, 6, DQ5 that we played on iOS. It's kind of that, but with a fixed low, different kind of angle. And then anyway, the other thing, and this is something that even my girlfriend, who isn't nearly as invested in this as me because they haven't played DQ3 and don't even like the Octopath graphics, flipped out about, which is the battle system is now using like Golden Sun camera angle, and it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Which means you get this exciting 3D. You get this exciting like 3-dimensional dynamism, but you still get 2D sprites for the enemies, which is a big part of OG DQ3's charm. It looks so good. I'm also, more importantly, this means more people are going to play DQ3. More people in the modern day who are our age or younger are going to play this older game that I consider so foundational, and then they'll understand what I'm yelling about all the time.
What platform is that coming out on?
Switch.
Okay.
Yeah,
or maybe other things too. Was it just Switch?
I know it's at least Switch, because Switch is kind of like the forefront of the HD 2D stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's where Octopath and Triangle Strategy are coming out, and so I'm sure it's Switch. It might be other things, but I know it's at least Switch. But I'm beyond hype about it. The rest of the other announcements in the stream were all like, I'm honestly pretty excited for pretty much everything they announced, but that's the best one for sure. That's the one that got me hollering. Yeah, like I'm super excited for Dragon Quest 12, and I trust Yuji Horii when he says that he's going to make a game for adults. He does not mean he's going to put boobs in Dragon Quest. It means it's going to be like...
I was really hoping I'd get to play Titty Quest.
Yeah, it's probably going to be something
I think you can find that on Newgrounds.
Oh, you're right.
It's probably going to be something a lot more like subtly adult oriented, like dealing with emotions instead of just bombastic boys saving the world, and that's what he means.
And it's not like the series hasn't engaged in mature subject matter. Like DQ7, I would very much consider a very mature story, right? But it is true that like 9 and 11 especially were more on the side of like children's cartoon fairy tale sort of vibe. So going back in that 7 direction of like a heavier, more serious story, exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be great. The other great thing is, as I mentioned last week, I made my brother a emulation station out of a stolen HP Thin client, because you only are allowed to steal from HP now. And so this week I got to start making my own, and so I put every game from almost yes, I put every game from almost every system prior to the Game Boy Advance, but not every single one, because there are over 5,000 Atari 800 games, and there are 6,000. Yeah, and there are 6,000 literally every other game of the 8-bit, 16-bit era.
I mean, wow. The video game crash happened with Atari for a reason.
Which Atari was it, Sam?
Atari 800. They're PC before they made the 2600.
That's why I was curious.
Yeah. To be fair, it lasted from like 1978 to 1992.
Yeah. It was around a really long time.
That's why it got up so much. But still, I was going through and like when you get like a no intro set for an old game, it's like, all right, I want every single Super Nintendo game. They're like, yeah, do you have 106 megabytes of space on your hard drive? Like, are you sure you can handle this? And then I'm like, all right, every Atari 800 game, I downloaded it. It's 136 megabytes. And I'm like, for this old thing, like, aren't the games all like 2 kilobytes? And I'm like, yes, they are all 2 kilobytes.
Wow.
There's just 5,000 of them. So I looked on Atari. It's like AtariFan.net. I don't remember exactly what it is. Maybe Atariism, something like that. But they have a top 100 Atari 800 list. So I just got the top 100 one of those. I do not need, because like the reason I'm putting all the things is I'm mostly using it for like fan translations and stuff like that to go play RPGs because I'm a weeb. But then also, like, there's just something great about playing an old game for 15 seconds and just being like, oh yeah, Spider-Man for the Game Gear, not a fun game. I don't need to play this ever again. And so I just and the emulation station has a random button, so I'll just like show me something cool, and I'll just put it on and find something awesome to play. And I don't want more than 50% odds to be playing an Atari 800 game, so did not put all of those, but I did play the crap out of Spider-Man for the Atari 2600 with Scarlett, and it is a surprisingly fun game. It's so your do button, because the Atari games just have one do button. You shoot a web in whatever direction, and when you let go of the do button, the web sticks if it's on the building, and it doesn't stick if it's on a window or any open space. And so you have to climb up the building, save all the people, and get past the Green Goblin by like a test of skill of like shooting your webs to actually land on things. And it's super easy and it's super easy to understand what you have to do. And Scarlett was loving the crap out of it, and so we played it for like an hour. And
oh wow,
I love it.
It's awesome.
It is probably not worth playing for an hour, but like kids have like the weirdest attention spans. Prior to us playing a Spider-Man for the Atari 2600, we were playing Mario Kart 64, and she didn't even finish her first race. She was like, I'm bored. Let's go to the next game. And then she latched on to this barely game starring 7 pixels that kind of look like Spider-Man.
I had a cousin who had an Atari 2600 when I was a kid, and I had a Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And yet, anytime I went over to her place, I wanted to play the fucking Atari. Yeah. And like, we played shit like Keystone Cops and Pitfall, and I was so fucking into that. She had Triathlon. Like, we played all the Atari classics, and I adored it. And I had a Super Nintendo.
I've got a 2600. It's awesome. As a piece of hardware, it's beautiful. I love the way it works. I love that its power cable is an 1/8-inch jack. I love all of its manual buttons on the console itself that you use to access alternate game modes. And I love that it has literally 3 good games out of its entire library.
For my brother's so for mine, I put everything because I wanted to be surprised by shitty games. He is not like that. He just wanted to play N64 games. And so I put a bunch of N64 games, and then kind of like the top 100 Super Nintendo and Genesis, because that's when we were kind of paying attention to games. And so he would probably recognize a couple random ones there. And then for the Atari 2600, I got him Combat and Space Invaders, and I think that was basically it. Like, I think I just got him the games that we had. I think I got him Pitfall as well. And I'm just like, there you go. That's
Pitfall is one of the 3 good ones.
Yeah.
Pitfall, what's it called? Zaxxon?
I think that's it.
Gaxon. It's the one that's like, it's kind of a shooter thing. It's got amazing graphics. That's the second good game. And the third
Cuthbert's
one
Revenge
is... actually, okay, there's 4 good games. And then the fourth one, I think you mean Custer's Last Game.
Custard's, yeah.
And then
I don't know why I said
And then the
Cuthbert.
final actual good game is Adventure, obviously. And that's it. Those are the 4 good games. But when it comes to Atari, it's not really about the good games, it's about the bad games.
Yeah, it really is.
Come for the good games, stay for the bad games. That's the Atari 2600 promise.
Yeah,
and I haven't even played any Atari 800 games, so I don't even know anything about that.
Yeah, what I love about the Atari 2600 is like all of these games are like the perfect WarioWare type games, where it's just like do a thing and it technically works for a couple of minutes and then move on with your life. But these motherfuckers cost $70 back in the day.
I'm so glad, Maddy, that you knew what I was talking about, because I feel like a fucking idiot now.
Oh, of course I know Custer's Last Stand.
Yeah, it was one of the 4 greatest games on Atari.
Whoa. Breaking news. I just found out, because of a fleet that someone on Twitter who I've been following for ages who doesn't have a picture of themselves as their profile pic, so I don't know anything about them, gender, name, what they look like, anything. Turns out they're hot.
Nice.
Turns out they're a hot babe. I had no idea. I've been following this person for ages. Literally had no clue. Turns out they're a hot babe. Wow, I'm really learning things today. Good news.
This has been an RPG book club news break.
Great news for me.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But yeah. One final thing before we go, because we're coming up on 30 minutes, and that's usually where I make us start talking about the game now, is I discovered this game called Tang Tang for the GBA.
Oh. I know Tank Tank.
Not Tank Tank. Tang Tang. Tang.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it is a cute little puzzle game where you're a little non-copyright infringing Bomberman lookalike, and your power is the Cane of Silmaria. Basically, you can make and delete blocks, but it's a side scroller, and you have to get the 3 blobs and get to the door by the end of it. And it is just a little simple, fun ass time that I would have been really mad paying $35 for back in the day of the Game Boy Advance.
And now you don't have to.
Now I don't have to. Yeah, check that shit out. But let's instead check out the Tales of Symphonia section that we played this week. We are going to listen to the Tethe'alla battle music because, of course, the alternate dimension gets its own music, and it's great. So we're going to listen to that, and then we'll talk about the plot. Where we last left off, we crashed into the side of a mountain in a whole nother dimension.
I just want to say real quick, sorry, I feel real bad that I missed like a very critical week of this.
It's okay.
Because, good lord, I mean, I knew Remiel was bad, but damn.
Right?
Like that.
Yeah, it really was a shame not having you here last week, but I mean, you know, like it happens.
Yeah.
Although I thought this week was really dope too. I'm excited for the rest of the game.
It was, yeah. Yeah, I may talk about that during memorable moments.
Yeah,
you can,
for sure.
If you want to back up, that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, this disc 2 of this game is where people like love the story, and it does things that aren't necessarily chosen one goes on an adventure. And so every time I hear people talk about like, oh yeah, I really like Tales of Symphonia, the story really wasn't that big of a deal, but the characters were great. I was like, I feel you didn't finish the game because because everyone calls it like a bog standard RPG story, and I'm like, it is, but then it's like decidedly not.
Yeah,
partway through. Like you have your first fight with God like halfway through the game instead of at the end of the game. The church is bad and now we have to stop them is not the gumption to go into the final dungeon like it is everywhere else. But yeah, so our sky jet skis ran out of fuel, so we have to go and find some. We all climbed all the way down the mountain, and Lloyd's like, where are we going? And Sheena's like, why were you leading us if you didn't know where we were going? He's like, I don't know. I'm Lloyd. That's just what I do. And she's like, okay, let's go to Meltokyo, the Imperial City, and we'll find some clues there or something. When we get to the city, however, Sheena's like, I can't come in with you. I have to go report to my chief that I failed on my mission. Also, my city is a hidden city, so we have to stay to lay low. Can't really just go barging in and meeting the king. So she gives us a letter to give to the king that'll explain everything, and then we're off to explore this big old city that doesn't have a grocery store. I really needed to buy some fucking rice to make some fucking fried rice, and there was no grocery store here. I looked at every single building, talked to every single NPC, wasted. Because like me and Summer have 2 hours.
Where did you get your fried rice recipe?
I don't know. I imported it from last time.
Gotcha.
My recipes all came from cheating.
Yeah, probably from the Wonder Chef.
Yeah, I have.
I don't know if you've been doing that side quest.
I have 4, but none of them are fried rice. But cool, nice.
Yeah, but fried rice is the second stage HP and MP.
Oh, that sounds great.
Food. So I love the crap out of it. But I didn't find very many recipes on my original playthrough because like I imported them like, oh, this is going to make it great. I load up cooking and Gina's has full cooking, which is great. But I have 6 of the 30 available recipes. But we look around everywhere trying to find out how to meet the king. And the first thing that we find is that Colette kicks puppies now. In the olden times, she had a side quest where every time you met a dog, she gave it a name. I don't know if you've been doing that, but if you,
I didn't know that. Every time I've met a dog, the dog's just been like, huh?
Yeah, if you switch to Colette being your party leader, you talk to the dogs and she gives them a name, and it's my favorite thing to do.
I didn't know that switching to anyone else was possible until today when I almost accidentally did it.
Oh yeah, actually, fun fact, I think I've complained about this. Maybe I didn't complain about it on the pod, otherwise one of y'all might have corrected me. I guess I must have only complained about it to my girlfriend. But yeah, this whole game I've been complaining like it's really dumb. You can only control Lloyd, and if Lloyd dies, you just have to watch everyone run around unless you give someone a command to revive you. And here's the thing: it's not like I didn't try, because you can change your party leader on the field, right? I tried that. That doesn't change battle. You can also go into the battle menu and make it where Lloyd is set to auto, and then set someone else to manual. That doesn't do it either. That doesn't do it. That's only for multiplayer. No, turns out in battle you have to hit triangle to open the menu, and then hit start to cycle who's in control. Makes 0 sense. So you want to know how I found that out? I'm pretty sure, again, I had already investigated this. I had looked, can you do this? And I was pretty sure the answer was no. So I wasn't just being a total idiot, right? I was texting a friend, and I mentioned I was playing Tales of Symphonia, and she's not much of a gamer, but she did play the game when she was a kid, and she was like, oh, what character do you play as? And I was like, what? So then I Google how to switch characters Tales of Symphonia, and I find like a game FAQs thread of someone else being like, is it possible to do it in this game? And someone's like, yeah, you hit triangle, then you hit start. And so then I respond to my friend and I say, I've been playing as Lloyd the whole game because it wasn't until you sent that message that I knew you could switch characters. Real game changer. Although it turns out most of the characters aren't very fun to play as because they're not very... Go on.
I just didn't know you could do it that way, because the way I was going to say to do it is the first party member slot is the first controller, second party member slot is second controller, third, fourth, and fifth. So if you move Lloyd from the first spot, you can play as somebody else.
Oh,
is it actually? Can it be played as a multiplayer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you see? I knew you could do that with multiplayer. I had no idea, and I haven't been playing multiplayer, so I just figured, oh well, I guess if you're only playing single player, you have to be Lloyd. That's what I figured, right? No,
yeah. So, sorry, Eli. I had mentioned on the movie night or whatever, like you should play this game with Ken. I didn't mean hang out with Ken while you're playing. I meant give him a controller.
Actually play with him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's what you've been doing this whole time, right? Sam?
Yeah. Me and Summer have been actively playing.
Whereas I have not been, because I only have one PS3 controller.
Yeah. So right now the best player 2 character is Sheena or Presea. They are the most fun to play as. Gina sucks. Casting spells so bad. Sucks.
And his melee attack sucks. I actually have spent a decent bit of time playing as Rain, and she's pretty fun to play as. Actually, her physical attacks do enough damage that you can actually use them, but then doing just support spells and staying away from bad guys and then hitting enemies to restore your MP, pretty fun, actually.
Nice.
I've just been playing as Lloyd because all I have to do is hit X a bunch.
Yeah.
Or A. I have to hit A a bunch.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that like all of the good combo moves, because combos feel really good to play to like kick off. All of like Lloyd has all of those. Like Lloyd I can just string together a 22 hit combo and it's amazing. And I love it.
Okay, now I'm curious because I've only managed a 3-hit combo with Lloyd alone. Like I've always had to have other characters hitting at the exact same time to get really big combos.
So
how are you doing that?
3-hit combo, Tiger Blade, Sonic, not Sonic, Sonic Thrust, but
they
Sonic,
each other.
Sonic Sword Rain, then Hunting Beast. That's my 3-hit combo, level 1, level 2, level 3. That's my go-to.
Wait, how did you get Hunting Beast? The fuck is that?
It's the like next good version of Beast. It's just
why have I not gotten it yet?
Still not sure I understand because like
I don't know how the systems work in this game. I acquired
I said,
it.
how do you get it? What I meant was, why do you have it and I don't?
Yeah. I have literally no clue.
I'll have to look more into that because as it stands,
I've
just like I have Tiger Blade or whatever it's called on the left trigger, and then I have something on the right trigger that gets interrupted a lot. And then there's other stuff that's like mapped to the D-pad, but whenever I use the D-pad, he just moves.
Have you not been pressing circle or whatever that button would be on your controller?
A, X, Y, and B. Oh, yes, God, I haven't been hitting B.
Yeah, that's your special move button.
Oh, no!
Eli, you've been going into the menu every time you need a special move?
Yup.
Yeah, no, it's like Super Smash Bros. You push B plus a direction.
Well, because it's not even that I've been using them from the menu. I just have been like, I was only using the ones that were on the fucking triggers because those are the only ones I knew how to use.
Yeah, that's what the D-pad means. It means B plus direction.
Hey, I'm pretty sure I've said before on this podcast, I suck at video games.
Listen, I think all three of us in this conversation just now have revealed that we're all fucking idiots. However, I do have to say, with utmost love, I think Eli wins this one.
Yeah, it's my birthday. Give me the award.
Eli's going to go home and be like, oh my God, this game is awesome.
Like, I'm sure I'll win the next one, but I think Eli's the clear winner this time.
Yeah, I truly deserve this. I'd like to thank the Academy, my dear father, and my inability to read tutorials.
Yeah, wait, with tutorials to schmorials, here's the thing. I may be an idiot, but at least I do understand the most important rule of video games, which is, as soon as you start playing the game, just push every button on the controller to see what it does.
I thought it did! I could have sworn I tried it before, but now that I'm looking back, I'm like, have I ever pressed the fucking B?
I have had games before where I go a long time without hitting a certain button.
I pressed it to like escape out of menus because that's what B does. Oh my God, I can't breathe.
That's so great. And like because you have the easy mode on, like it's not like
it hasn't affected me.
It just hasn't mattered.
I couldn't even die on the fight where you're supposed to fucking die. It had to pass 2 minutes, and then it was like, all right. You know what? I think you've had enough. And I'm like, I'll tell you when I've had enough. You just can't tell me I'm drunk. Yeah, so like I've just been fucking. Lloyd has like 4,500 HP. He's level 50 fucking 7. What do I give a shit?
Yeah, now you're going to take these bosses down faster. So.
Yeah, that's true. I also like had a hard time figuring out what the clicky down the limit break or whatever it's called. Yeah. That thing.
Don't worry. It's honestly not that interesting. Don't worry about it. Like, I do understand it, but I haven't really been doing it because it doesn't really matter, I don't feel like.
Have you been doing have you found any of the combo moves that it does?
Yeah,
Maddy?
but I just feel like the numbers that they've been doing haven't been anything that I've cared that much about.
I don't know which ones you found then, because the...
All right, well, I'll keep messing with it. Yeah, sometimes I'll be like, ooh, this is cool, and it does the damage, and I'm like, that's like... I mean, like, I don't get me wrong, I do it, but it's like as much damage as it would take for me to do, like, a couple combos, right?
Yeah, so Rain's Photon and Colette's Ring something or other. It's like Ring Rain or something like that. It's the one that has Ring in it. Ring Cyclone, maybe.
Yeah.
But that one does
one she's always using.
Hecka damage, and it's...
Does it have to be in that order?
No, it's just both of them use it in the thing. But like that one does a whole lot, and there are a couple. There's one. It was with Kratos, so I couldn't do it this week. But it was Lightning Blade from Kratos and Tiger Blade with thing, and that one.
So that explains that one.
Yeah, there's quite a few good ones. As with all things about the systems to this game, look it up on GameFAQs because it's obtuse in game, and just find out what the combinations are. And
I've mostly been fucking it. Basically, what I do is if I fill up my limit break in a battle, I don't use it, and then at the start of the next battle, I immediately use it on whichever is the most annoying enemy, and that's pretty much it. I'm just like, make a beeline for the enemy mage, use the limit break, and then continue battle. Like that's literally my entire strategy.
Yeah. Anywho, Colette kicks dogs.
God,
we were all learning a lot about ourselves this week.
Mostly about Eli.
No, me too. We all had to learn some things about the game's mechanics that we weren't aware of. Although, again, as I mentioned, this game's localization, both of itself and its tutorials and its manual, not particularly good.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's average. And for this being such an important game and having an average localization,
I'd say a little below average. I mean, this is the GameCube era. It wasn't like, this wasn't like Breath of Fire 2 era.
I was saying average for the GameCube era. Like it's serviceable now. It was average back then. It wasn't the Persona 3s and 4s, and it wasn't the Wild Arms 2s. So it was the average thing that you got back in the day. But yeah, so Colette kicks dogs, which if you've been doing the side quest I mentioned earlier is like a big like character pivot, and you're like, oh shit, like she's completely really not a Colette anymore. And after she kicks the dog, Rodile, who's one of the bad design people from last week that we the players saw but the group didn't see him, he comes by, just like happens to come by, is like, cool, she's being super violent now, okay, bye. And we're like, whatever. And so
Rotodile, the Pokemon.
Yes. So then we're walking and the party stops to like look at all the sights, but Colette keeps walking, and she walks straight into a group of people, one of whom was in the anime opening. His name is Zelos, and he is a total lady killer. He flirts with every single female character in the entire game. No, literally, if you give him an EX Gem level 2 and you equip his personal skill and you talk as him to a female in the game, they give you an item as a gift. Great. It's amazing. He's literally
so charming that
everyone.
People just give you free shit for talking to them.
It's so good. But he tries to, like, in the funny scene that's happening, he tries to like go and touch Colette, flirt with her or something, and she just yeets him across the entire square, and it's awesome. Then we get up to the castle, and they're not letting anyone inside because the king is sick, and they're like, well, we can't let anyone inside until the church finishes their prayers to heal him. And we're like, okay, so let's go to the church and find a way in. So inside the church, they are preparing the ceremony, and they need this big-ass log of sacred wood that they're going to burn. And they're like, hey, you tiny 6-year-old child, take this wood inside. And the girl, also from the anime opening, she's like, okay, cool, no problem, and carries this big ass wood like it's nothing. And we're like, oh, hey, it's that girl from the anime opening. Let's follow her. I recognize her. So we run outside, and I didn't see this while I was playing. Like, I know it happened. It obviously happened, but I didn't, like, comprehend it. But she's talking with some dude with an ugly haircut who says, the plan is right on schedule. I'll go report to Lord Rodile. And Perseia's like, understood, which is super suspicious because we know that Rodile's up to no fucking good. And I had missed this happening, and I was just like, yeah, Perseia's my friend, and now I don't trust my friend. I mean, I do, because the power of friendship, but I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? So we ask Perseia if we can carry the wood for her, and she's like, okay, sure. So we tried to move it, and we can't even budget. So she's like, whatever, and she gives up and carries it anyways. This joke happens twice this week. I laugh both times. So we follow her into the king's chamber, where she gets us past all the guards. In the throne room, the king is there, and so is the pope. And so is Zelos. We find out that Zelos is the chosen for Tethe'alla, whom Sheena last week was like, oh yeah, the chosen? I fucking hate that guy. And it's obvious this week that they are in love. But, Zelos is the chosen for Tethe'alla, and we tell everybody that we're from Sylvarant, and we give them Sheena's letter, and the king's like, okay, this is very important. Go wait in the other room. We'll figure out what we're going to do. What they're going to do is kill us. So they come in to try and kill us, and they can't even lay a finger on Colette because she's an angel badass now. And so to avoid any bloodshed, out of nowhere, because we've just been murdering folks this whole game, Rain is like, we have a deal. Help us heal Colette, and that will prevent her from becoming an angel, so your world will be saved. And the party is like, Rain, are you just going to, like, doom our world? And she's like, right now we're going to focus on Colette. We'll go kill God later. Like, obviously. We'll just...
If you kids don't behave, I'll turn this car around and we won't kill God.
If y'all are really well behaved, we'll go kill God later.
Yeah.
Hold on, one more bit. Mom, can we go kill God? We have kill God at home. The kill God at home, and unfortunately, I didn't think of someone finished this joke. What's the kill God at home? It's the little bug thingy from FF10 that looks like shit.
We need to make "We Have Kill God at Home" a new t-shirt.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. So to ensure that we're not up to any funny business, they send Zelos along with us to be our chaperone. And Zelos tells us that he called in a favor at the Imperial Research Academy in the town of Zyback, which is across the big-ass bridge nearby. Normally only the king can, like, make demands of them, but he's the chosen. He'll do whatever the fuck he wants. So we make our way across said big-ass bridge. It's a huge drawbridge that's powered by, like, 3,000 dead people, and all of our party members are kind of squeaked out about it, but all of the Tethe'allans are like, what? It's just dead people. It's just X-Spheres. It's no big deal.
Who fucking cares? Move on with your life. So
we get to Syback.
You're going to become an X-Sphere anyway.
Yeah.
What does it fucking matter?
Yeah. When we get to the town of Syback, Perseia says that she hates this town and wants to leave as soon as possible. So we get to the Imperial Research Academy, and we're like, hey, what the fuck's wrong with our friend? And they're like, oh, she's sick from... She has X-Sphere sickness, but from a Crucius crystal, because she doesn't have a key crest for her Crucius crystal. And Lloyd's like, oh, that's all you need? Well, I can do it. Let me make you one. And he brings it back to her, and every single person that in the game from here on out is like, wow, that is a shitty ass key crest. And so he gives it to her, and he fits it on her Crucius crystal, and it doesn't work.
No, because it's
all.
And this is every time we attach the key crest to the Crucius crystal.
It doesn't work.
It's not working.
But, so we're being like, well, what can we do to fix it? And we're like, well, the only person we know that fixes key crests is Dirk. And we're like, oh, let's just go get Dirk. That'll be fine. And all the guards are like, they're plotting to go back to Sylvarant. Get them. And we're like, shit. So
crap.
So
I mean,
the guards,
it makes sense. It's kind of like when you're trying to evade bail, you know?
Yeah.
and
Or not evade bail, you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's just so funny to me because they're just like, well, what are some like things we could do? And they're like, okay, here's just some ideas.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
just throwing some ideas out there, yeah.
They're like, whoa. Like, we would have like asked for permission or like just sent one person back or hell, sent Zelos in the Riards and we just waited here. Like, we didn't even talk about logistics yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't just jump down our throats.
Oh, that's a good point. I had not even thought about that. That's true.
Yeah. But they then jump down our throats and they do some gross ass shit. And playing this section in the current political climate has been kind of really fucked up. So
Yeah.
what they do, because you can't tell the difference between half-elves and humans, is they do blood tests to see if you are a half-elf, and if you are, your sentence is harsher than if it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's
The sentence
being
for the
put to
record,
death.
Yeah, exactly. Is execution in all cases.
In all cases.
Super fucked up.
It's super fucked up.
It made me real uncomfortable. Like racism, fantasy racism is a thing. It's pretty much always been a thing, you know, like the humans are going to view the elves this way and the elves are going to view the humans this way and never the two shall meet or whatever, you know, but then they do. And you know, there's themes of like coming together and putting aside differences depending on the type of media.
Also, just as a aside, for every writer listening to us now, that story's been told. You don't have to do it anymore. You can just have elves and humans hang out. You don't have to put in regular human ass racism in your fantasy books.
And y'all know
this
what
feels more real than a lot of fantasy.
Yeah, it's quite
racism.
extreme. Or anyway, my take on this, and I think if y'all have been, those of y'all who have been paying attention know what my opinion is going to be. Just don't have elves. Don't have elves in your story. Don't have elves.
That's racist.
Yeah, why are people writing stories with fictional racism when Maddy is real racist against elves?
I'm not being racist against the elves. I'm just saying that I prefer stories where they don't exist.
Some of my best friends are elves, okay?
Which is a great segue because that's literally what Lloyd says.
Exactly.
Because everyone here is super duper racist. Even like Zelos is like complicit in all of the racism.
Oh,
and we're
yeah.
like, dude, cut it out. And he's like, it's just how I was raised. And it's like, well, you're grown. You're not being raised anymore, so you can stop it now. And so
same arguments that grandma makes at the dinner table when she says something off color.
yeah.
He's from a different time.
So since they have to go and kill our friends, they just lock us up in a lab as a temporary prison. They'll be back to deal with us later. In the lab, we meet a character who doesn't have a unique sprite, so I forget what her name is. But I think it's Kate.
It's Kate. Yes, it is Kate.
Yes.
So she recognizes Persea and is like, "Oh shit, Persea is the person I was researching on." And we're like, "That's fucked up. You should not do that." And she's like, "Yeah, I know. It's my biggest regret. I promise to save her, but that'll take some time. you go save your friends. So she has a escape hatch, and we go through out of the escape hatch, and we head on over to the bridge. But of course, because this is a big ass drawbridge, they are drawing the bridge right as we get there. So we try to jump over, and we suck. And hilariously, Colette can fly, so she just like yeets like off the screen, just keeps going straight, and we all fall into the water, and it's great. But then instead of falling to our death, we're saved by Undini with Sheena, and so she saves us, pushes us back up with water. We have a cute little reunion. We kill the shit out of the people who are trying to kill Genus and Rain. And so because we killed more humanoid people in a place where we aren't welcome, we're now criminals again. It's good to know that every single power structure that we've met in the game so far is now our enemy, because we can't stop from killing all of their people. So we're like, well, what do we do now? And they're like, and Zealous is like, well, let's go get the Riards. I have a trick we can use to take them with us, and we'll take them with us. We'll go to the lightning seal so that Sheena can make a pact with Volt. Volt will electrocute up our thingies, and we can fly around, and we can get an airship. And I'm like, checks out. We're in the second half of the game. Of course we get an airship.
Sounds good to me.
So we head back to Mount Fuji. We walk up to get the Riards, and we're like, so what's the thing? And Zealous is like, all right, so come stand right over here. I'm sure there's not a trap here. And we're like, okay. And we all walk into a trap. And so,
wow, what a shock.
What a shock. And so while we're in the trap, Ewan from the Renegades and hot chick, I forget her name, Pronema. She's real hot, especially like she's hot enough that in this super deformed art style, you're like, I bet she's hot. And then I looked up the anime, and she is indeed hot.
Yeah.
So
even in that form, you can tell.
You can tell. So so they're like, we saw where you crashed. We knew you would be back for these eventually, so we just laid in wait. And of course, you walk straight into our trap. We're going to take Colette. We're going to go do bad guy shit. It's cool. It's cool. So they go over to grab Colette, and they're like, wait, what the fuck is this? Who made this shitty ass key crest to put it on the Crucius crystal? This is the worst goddamn key crest I've ever fucking seen. They're like, so they're like, well, I'm just going to grab it and throw it away. And when they reach for it, Colette speaks, because she hasn't been able to speak for hours now. She's like, no, Lloyd made that for me. It's important to me. And they're like, what the fuck? And
it took a while to kick in because it was just so shitty.
That part was, I really liked this scene. It was, I like how they don't really explain why it didn't work earlier, but it does now. But it's what Eli just said. Like, sometimes bad. You try something and it does work. It just doesn't work quite the way you thought it was going to work. Right? Mm-hmm. And it finally kicking in and her having a line of dialogue, I'm like, oh, fuck. And the game does the right thing here, because all the other characters are also like, whoa, you just talked. Like they all react with the appropriate level of shock, mirroring, my own shock. It was quite good.
Yeah. And so she Angel hulks out and knocks them off of her, and they're like, shit, she's awake. We have to stop her. So they go to attack her, and Colette does not Xena Warrior Princess be a badass with her chakrams like you would think in a regular JRPG. No, she's Colette. So she trips again, and her ass lands on the fucking trap device, which brings down the force field. So then all of us can fight them.
They all have an Colette. Classic Colette moment. In the middle of this, really tense situation.
Maybe she's actually a big hustler. Like, maybe that was 100% on purpose. She plays up this I'm a klutz thing to keep the enemies off guard.
It's the long con.
And then she quote, accidentally fucks up all their plans.
I mean, it's true. She accidentally stopped Sheena, and now she accidentally stopped the design.
Yep,
so
that's what I'm saying.
It's making sense. But
I'm blowing this whole thing wide open.
So we fight Pronema and win. And after the fight, Lloyd is like, all right, well, we killed Hot Girl, so now let's kill the John Waters looking motherfucker, Ewan. And we're going to kill him now. And Ewan is a renegade, as we learned last week. But then Ewan is saved by Kratos, who is with Crucius, who we know are the Desians.
So what the fuck?
What the fuck is even going on? All of the bad guys are the same organization now.
Yeah, which they were at the start, and then they suddenly weren't. And it was, and it's just getting confusing. My thought was, though, maybe Yuan was lying about being a renegade. Maybe he was a spy, or something like that. Maybe he's not technically one of the renegades, but I don't fucking know.
I think that the character who's up to something is Kratos, especially because the game does address that later. So I think Kratos. The confusion here is that Kratos has some kind of more complex ulterior motives that isn't exactly the same as everyone else's, whereas everything else is just like, they're the bad guys.
Yeah, and
that's my guess.
I considered that too.
I think that I don't actually remember any of the politic of the end of the game. I remember like the plot points, but it's all just like we kill God plot points, not like the politics of how we get there. So I don't exactly remember, but I swear that Ewan says something like, "Oh Lord, Yggdrasil something something something." So I don't know. We'll put a pin in this and we'll come back to it because this episode's taken forever because we spent 30 minutes talking about the B button.
I actually might need to split early. I apologize, but just for life reasons, I may have to. But that's fine. My moments I had, I had a couple. My main one that I have though is not really a specific moment, but it's a thing that the game is doing, and hopefully the game will continue to be doing it next week, so I can just talk about it next week.
Yes,
but let's keep going.
Well, so. Kratos, after all the bad guys leave, Kratos stays behind and he's like, "Hey, if you don't finish the chosen journey, Sylvarant dies. Like that's the rules of the world." And Lloyd's like, "Fuck the rules, then. Like we'll change the rules." And it's really cool, and I really liked that bit, especially in like this, like. Not to go off on another tangent, but like in our modern political climate, the most of the problems are systemic, and the rules need to be broken. And seeing a JRPG hero that's like we should just change the rules, I really liked that. But so after Kratos leaves, we realize that Colette is still an angel. She still has all of her angel powers. She just now isn't catatonic. But unfortunately, the bad guys have taken our Riards, so we can't do the thing we were planning to, and we're like, what should we do? And Persea has the most heartbreaking voice line. Me and Summer have not stopped memeing about it the whole time. She goes, "I want to go home." And it's like, ugh. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get Persea home. And so we're like, well, how can we get across the bridge? Like they raised the bridge. There's bad guys there. We don't have Riards. And he's like, I know some people in Mel Tokyo. We'll check that out. And we're like, how do we get in? He's like, don't worry. This is a JRPG. There's a sewer dungeon. We're like, hell yeah.
This game, I gotta say, this game, if we're going purely by the metric of start to sewer, one of the best JRPGs of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sewer
took a long time to get here.
Yeah.
Start to prison, way too short. Start to sewer, really long. Evens out.
Yeah.
As far as sewer dungeons go, I really, really like this one a lot. I'm not going to go into it because we're running late, but a lot of cool block puzzles. The only thing that sucked is because of the camera angle, there's this one ledge that looks like it's a decoration on the wall, and I literally had to look it up.
The same thing.
I looked up where to go, and nobody had an issue here. They're like, they were stuck with like the block puzzles, and I'm like, I can figure out puzzles, but then I'm like, what do I do? And it's like in the guide, it was just like, make sure you check out the mouse hole on both sides of the waterfall. And I'm like, wait, you can cross the waterfall, and there's just a tiny little ledge that you can walk on.
It does not look like something you should be able to walk on.
Yes, but so as we're making our way through the dungeon, we find out that the Pope has hired prison labor. He has hired prisoners going to take off part of their sentence if they kill us. One of them is very hot. The other are all generic NPCs. So
I'm played by Crispin Freeman, so he's got a great voice too.
So we fight the generic NPC ones, but the hot one sees Persea and he's like, what? And he just leaves. So we make it to Mel Tokyo and we go to the elemental research place, which we find out is where Corinne was made. We find out Corinne is a man-made summon spirit. And Corinne, rightfully, is really pissed off that we went there and has this whole scene where she's like fighting her creators. And I get it. The lab wants us to cross in this really small boat, and they give us some Capsule Corp Dynacaps to carry it in, and we do that. So we get the boat, we put it, we use our Dino Caps so that we can now get on and off at docks and make our way around. If you have the map up, you can tell that there are shallows that we can't cross, but if you don't have the map up, the world map looks no different, and it just feels like an invisible wall, and it's dumb, and I hate it. I was like, let's go explore all of the things, but you can't. So we make it back to Zyback, and Kratos is there, but it's really no issue. He's just kind of there, and we're like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, nothing, and just leaves. So we take Persea to see Kate in the lab, and she's like, cool. I promise that I'll save her. She has a lot of lore about Crucius crystals, because that's the experiment that she was using with on Persea, was how to make her own Crucius crystals. So, I also haven't really mentioned it. Persea barely talks. She's like mostly silent. And the reason is because she has angel toxicosis, because she's growing Crucius crystal inside of her. So Kate says that we need the help of the dwarf named Altessa, who lives in the nearby forest. So we get a forest dungeon. In the forest dungeon, Colette uses her super hearing and hears that guards have like found us and they're coming after us. So we need to find a place to hide. And while we're looking for one, the hot guy from prison is back. And this time we fight him and kick his butt. And just like every party member that we fought, he uses just his regular moves, which is awesome, but it makes him like hard because he can like wombo combo you, where everyone else will just, like, normal mobs will run around because they have one special move, and otherwise will just attack you. He's like doing combos and shit.
I really love how every time you fight a character every time you fight a boss in this game that is a normal sized human, they clearly follow the same rules as player characters, even ones that you never play as. Mm-hmm. So like there have been, I forget now, but there have been battles where it's like, I'm probably never gonna have this character in my party. He's not controllable. But like but you would be able to if they were, because like they clearly are using combos and moves and dodging and blocking the same way that I do. Very cool. Love that.
Yeah. The Tales series builds on that in a super awesome way, and that's one of the things I love about Graces, is it always feels like a match of skill between you and the other person, even though that other person is an AI. That's really cool.
That is cool.
But my start to saying you should play Graces instead was an hour and 14 this week, which is pretty good. But he wants to. He says that he wants to be with Persea, but he doesn't go into it before we knock him out. And Colette single-handedly picks him up and takes him with us. Second time the joke happened this week, still funny. And so we take him with us to Mizuho. in Mizuho, we go to meet with the chief, and he's like, hey, because Sheena couldn't kill the Chosen, we now basically failed everyone, and they're going to try and kill us as well. So we're on your side. What's your plan? And Lloyd's like, I don't know how, but I want to stop this whole bullshit. If Yggdrasil can create two worlds that feed off of each other, we'll find a way to make him undo it and make them live in peace and both have half mana, and it'll be fine. Like, who gives a shit? And he's like, and so he's like, but that's the structure of the world. And Lloyd's like, fuck the structure. We're going to change it. And he's like, oh, are you trying to be the next Mythos? And he's like, I never paid attention in school, so I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
But I am. Yeah. It's like, I am going to try and save the world with my friends. And he's like, cool. We're going to use our ninjas information network to aid you as the best as we can. We feel you're our best hope. Somebody finally is listening to our party members and not just trying to kill them. And we're like, dope, awesome. So he's like, Sheena, go with them this time. Don't try to kill them, and don't just watch them for us. Because I glossed over it earlier, but when Sheena saves us, she never actually left. She was hanging out and watching us to see what we would do while she was avoiding going into Meltokyo. But so this time I was like, yeah, don't just watch them, don't try to kill them, instead go with them and save the world. And we're like, dope, awesome, can't do it. And he's like, Zelos, what are you going to do? Are you going to help the ones that preserve both worlds, or are you going to keep the status quo? And Zelos is like, I'd like to say the one that's going to win, but I guess if you actually have to ask me, I'm going to try and save everybody. I'll reluctantly be a good person. Yeah. But so we're like, cool. We head outside and talk to our prisoner, who says his name is Regal. And we're like, hey, we're going to keep you a prisoner, but you can fight with us because you're trying to protect Persea. Persea is on our side. We don't know what that all is about yet. It would be great if you would tell us, but for now, we need to round out our party. We need another physical attacker. He's
I'm calling it now. Regal is Persea's dad.
But it feels like it. I honestly don't remember. I just remember how hot Regal is.
He is very hot, yes.
And so he's like, cool, I swear that... He says, I swear on my good name and these shackles that bind me, because he's handcuffed. We thought it was because he was a prisoner, but now he is broke out of prison, and he stays in handcuffs for the rest of the game because anime. And it's cool.
Yes.
So then we leave, and we're like, all right, let's go to Altessa's place. And Persea again is like, I just want to go home. And we're like, okay, cool. We'll go to Azette first. And we don't do that. We save and end it for the week.
Yep.
Persea's got to wait another week to get home.
All right, Maddy, are you piecing out at the thingy?
No,
or do you have time?
Since you did such a good job blasting through, let's do our musical break. Let me share my one thing, and then I'll split.
Dope. All right, Maddy, what's your one thing?
Okay, there's actually two things. First thing is that I really like that what's his name isn't Sheena told us that he was stupid, but he's actually kind of not stupid. When she said he's stupid, I think what she really meant was more like he's a sexist
pig. Yeah.
But he's actually quite smart in a number of situations. For example, when he says he's got to keep tab on them, and he's basically like, let's go to Ozette, and they're like, no, we got to go to the Research Academy, and he's like, oh, it's chill, we'll just drop her off on the way because Ozette's on the way to the Research Academy, and Janice gets caught off guard. He's like, oh, that's a great idea, actually. And there's a few times where he's just like actually pretty smart, especially compared to Lloyd. And then the second thing, the thing that I really, really, really like though, is in the scene where we decide to join up with the people of Mizuho, even though it's a little bit complicated because of the contradictory points of view and goals. He says, all we need is your help. And Lloyd says, is everybody else okay with us joining up? And then he asks, and they all say what their point of view is. And they all kind of have a slightly different point of view on it, but they all essentially agree on it. And that's really neat. I've never really seen an RPG where, like, I don't know, the hero asks his party what their opinion is on things, just like to make sure we're all chill, instead of just being like, I'm the hero, let's go do it. And that's only one of the scenes. There's a bunch of scenes in this game, and this wasn't the case before because it wasn't quite as complicated. But now we have enough characters with enough kind of conflicting allegiances and loyalties, and also just goals and wants and needs, that they kind of have to talk it out. And it's because in a lot of games, it's like once someone joins your party, they're just in your party. But in this, there's a number of scenes this week where the characters have to sit there and like figure out what to do and kind of air their different sides. And there's points where it's like the characters have to make sure that they continue to like want to be in the party, right? It's like, wait, am I still in agreement with the goals of this quest? Especially considering that they don't really know what their goals even are. They've been changing their mind like 50 times, which is neat. It's just really cool and nuanced. Like, I feel like the plot is in a sense a little aimless right now because the characters don't really know what they're doing or what their goal is. And they're kind of having to like they know they want to save the world vaguely. But every time they meet a new person, they're like, are we against these people? Are we with them? Do we trust them? And anyway, the game's just dealing with that with an unusual degree of complexity that I'm really appreciating. That's it. I am now going to skedaddle.
Yeah, so
love you, Maddy.
One of my favorite men moms of this week is Lloyd gets character growth because he meets someone and he doesn't do his "I'll tell you my name once you tell me yours" thing, because of the scene when you first meet Zelos. Rain walks in and he's like, "Whoa, what's your name, beautiful?" And Rain goes, "Give me your name and I'll give you mine." And she's just like, "Hey, you copied Lloyd." And Lloyd's like, "Damn, when I hear someone else say it, it sounds arrogant." Yeah. So now he doesn't do it anymore. Yeah, he's just like, great. "Hey, Regal, I'm Lloyd. Nice to meet you. Hey, what's up? I'm Lloyd. Nice to meet you."
Yeah, I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
He learned a thing.
Do you have any specific ones before I dive into mine?
Mine are all from last week, basically. But I mean, mainly I wanted to talk about like the big twist that happened, which, if you're playing the game, if you've listened to last week's episode, like, Remiel struck me as sus from the beginning. I will say that much. And I also want to say I'm using a spoiler-free guide. So I am getting a walkthrough, but it didn't tell me, like, you know, when a big fight came up, it actually said spoiler for the name.
Yeah.
And I really haven't even needed a guide for the fights because I just hit A a whole bunch and forget that B exists. Anyway, so I had a feeling the fight with Remiel was coming. What I didn't expect was that Colette was going to completely, like... I mean, I don't want to say completely didn't expect. I had a feeling that there was going to be more with her, but I didn't realize it was actually going to get that far. That she became catatonic. because I figured like they were going to stop Remiel in time, or Colette was going to be like, actually, no, this is fucked up and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
But no, she went along with it. And I'm just like, girl, the fuck? Like, this seems like a very bad idea. But she did it anyway. Nobody stopped her. And I mean, I guess they just couldn't intervene in time or something. Like, I don't remember exactly what the situation
Lloyd
was.
tried, but they were like, what else can we do? This is our only play right now is to see if the goddess will listen. And it wasn't until right after it happened that we were like, you fools, there is no goddess. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah. That's basically what he said, yeah. And I didn't see Kratos turning on us. However, I realized, as Maddy was talking about at the beginning of this episode, I should have realized it probably, because he was kind of sus too.
I remember not realizing it at all when I played it. Okay. And when I played so I played it on the GameCube long time ago. It never got that far. I think I got lost on the open-ended section from last week. And then when I played it right before meeting Summer, I was like, oh yeah, Kratos, I love him. He's so great. He's the Vegeta badass of this game. And then I got to this part. I was like, no, Vegeta, why'd you side with Majin Buu? We've been friends for 26 volumes of the manga.
You bastard.
You bastard.
Yeah, and I mean, hindsight is 20/20. I can look back on it now and be like, yeah, okay, I could see how Kratos was kind of sus, but it's still kind of hit me. And then God came down and said he made apparently he made Tethe'alla, and they're actually just elves. And it was very weird. It was like maybe Maddy's onto something with this no elves thing. If God is an elf and he's also trying to destroy humanity.
Yeah, but he's hot.
He is hot. He's hot.
David Bowie cosplaying Colette.
Oh my god, that's so true. Jesus, that is the best way to describe that, and it's great. It's so hot. I want Yggdrasil. But also fuck that guy.
Right?
Fuck that guy in literally every way.
Yes.
But yeah, it was unexpected. In a way that I should see this shit coming by now, because we've played enough RPGs with these kind of twists that I should just expect it. But I don't. I never do. I always expect run-of-the-mill RPG story, and I'm always confused when that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So far, the only time that has happened has been Brave Story. Brave Story was the only one that followed all of the rules.
I know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I kept expecting a twist in that one, too. That one took me by surprise for not having a twist.
Right?
But, yeah, I really liked it. Like, that, as soon as that happened, I was like, all right, this shit's good. Because up until then, I was like, it seems kind of run-of-the-mill. Like, yeah, Remiel's sus. Well, but he's probably the god that we kill at the end. And, we'll have trouble up until then. I want to say, too. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, but nope, that's the disc change.
Fuck. No, don't be gone. Don't be gone. Hold on. Shit. I was talking about fighting God. Being the big back. Oh, fuck my life. I've totally lost it.
It's okay. I'll do mine, and if you think of it, you can do it. So, Genus has a crush on Presea, and it is the most goddamn adorable thing I've ever fucking seen.
It's so fucking cute.
And every single scene, he's just the scene where you meet Presea, he's just I don't remember what he's saying, but he's just basically just And like, so Genus, what do you think? Like, what do you think we should do? Follow Persea. That's what we'll do. So we'll follow Persea. And then there's a optional scene at Zealous' house when we go there. And if you go to talk to Genus and Persea, he goes, Persea, I think you're pretty. And she goes, what's pretty? And he's like, I think you're beautiful and cute, and I like you. And she goes, oh, then you're pretty too.
And like it seems like she's just kind of mimicking him, but mimicry isn't really something that she does. And
it's cute.
Yeah, I think that she actually does care about him.
Yeah,
more than she can potentially let on.
Yeah. Then another real quick one is in the slums of Meltokyo, there's this guy who's in full noble garb, so he obviously doesn't belong there. Oh, wait, no, he's not a noble guard. He's an adventurer. That's even better.
Yeah,
so he's in an adventurer garb, and he's like, I heard that there was a cute flower seller that lived in the slums, but I guess that was just a rumor, which is obviously a reference to the opening scene of Final Fantasy VII, which is so good. But then my final one is at Zealous' house the next morning, because Colette started to be able to feel things and eat things again. And so she wakes up with a crick in her neck, and it's just her character model has her neck like sideways, and she's like, I think I slept wrong. My neck feels stiff. And it's great. I love it. But
whatever I was gonna say, it's just left the building. It's fucking gone. It was something to do with fighting God, and
was it that it was a three boss rush? Because
oh no, I remember what it was now. I love games where you have a forced party wipe. That, like, I think that that's such an interesting mechanic, because like you don't really see that kind of thing coming, and it kind of makes you, it kind of humbles you in a way, because like in every one of those cases that I've seen, like I knew it was coming in this because I had a guide, and it was like, don't bother fighting this guy, he's just gonna fucking kill you, or the fight's gonna end after 2 minutes. In my case, it ended after 2 minutes, because even with me just sitting there doing nothing, I had all my NPCs on full AI. So they were just keeping me healed, and I was like, wow, even God can't kill me. Lloyd is too powerful. But I think, like in every other case where I've played a game that it happened, I didn't know that it was coming, and it always added something to the narrative of the fight.
And this one could be a little better. He does a lot of damage, but enough where like I was like, oh, I could probably beat him. So it would have been better if he just wiped the floor with us. Yeah, because like I wasted a couple life bottles because of the fight with Kratos. I barely survived, and so I was like, shit, there's another boss fight. I healed everybody up, and then he started doing 1,000 some odd damage, and I only really noticed it was a forced loss because I was only doing 1 damage. So if he would have been doing like 5,000 damage or something, like I get why they wouldn't want to do 99999, because they want it to look like something we could potentially win eventually. It still needed to be more of a you're dead now sort of thing. But
it's having your characters only doing 1 damage doesn't broadcast it as well as your characters taking significant amounts of damage.
Yeah.
Whereas like he seemed like he was doing heavier than normal amounts of damage, but not anything that was completely unsurvivable.
Yeah.
So that, yes, I agree. That definitely could have been broadcast better to the user, but I think
but
that
it's not
a cool
like
mechanic.
the ones in Chrono Trigger where you spend 30 minutes of your life, barely lose, and then it's like, oh, by the way, it's because all the ones in Chrono Trigger are technically winnable, but that's true. That's a whole different thing.
The Kratos fight is one that you can actually fail and continue with the story.
Oh, cool.
So
wish I would have done that because he almost killed me.
Either whether or not you die to it, you'll progress. It's not a forced loss, but it's one that you can lose safely. But if you beat him, he gives you fuck tons of XP.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's interesting too, that they have 2 fights in a row where it's like, usually in an RPG where if there's a winnable fight, if you lose to it, then you have to start the process over again.
Yeah.
So I like that one was an either win or lose condition followed by an absolute loss.
Yeah. But that makes me feel better because me and Maddy both sucked hard on Remiel, and then we got to Kratos, and we were like, somehow we managed to beat it first time. And so both of us should have just died, and it would have been fine. But both of us stuck it out, and we're like, oh.
Yeah, I'll let her in on that as well. I'm liking this game a lot more now that we've had that.
Now that you can press the B button.
Oh my god, I'm never gonna live that down. Fuck.
First episode of next game, I'm going to tell you what every button does.
You know what? I probably need it, but I can almost guarantee I'll either forget or not listen. One of those 2 things will happen, and then weeks down the line, hey, have you been pressing your B button? Me, my what button? Oh, God.
Okay, so...
Let's end my misery, Sam, please.
Yes, so...
It's my birthday.
A good segue is what we'll be playing next. And this is a very contentious best of the rest, but because of how we're doing it, there's one game that is not as contentious. It's kind of just a middle of the road answer, and that's making it win. So last week we had said it was tied between basically everything because we had a bunch of people vote. Like the poll started, everyone voted Final Fantasy X, but then last week people came in and are like, no, we should play Hexus Force. But every person that is all 5 people that have voted so far have decided that their second favorite one on the list is Anachronox. So now Anachronox is winning by a lot.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
So Anachronox is winning with 10 points, and Hexus Force is in second with 12. And Final Fantasy X-2 is in third with 13, and nobody wants to fucking play Breath of Fire except for Omega. Omega put it number 1. Everyone else put it in dead last. So that one is in last with 15 points.
Wow.
So if you want us to play anything that's not Anachronox, you can probably swing the vote if you put it in last place. So that's one thing I love about this ranked voting thing is it can make weird picks. Like I didn't even think Anachronox was going to be close because it does not have a first place vote, but every single person has it in second place. So we're leaning towards Anachronox now. It's so weird, but
oh my gosh.
No one feels very strongly about it, and therefore it's what we're going to play.
I love this system. It's so bizarre. It's giving us something completely unexpected, and it's great.
It's so good.
It was so good. It's so good. I hit my elbow on the desk. Ow.
But yeah, if you want us to not play Anachronox and you want to go and toss your hat into the ring, go and vote it in last place. Don't put it in second place. Everyone's putting it in second place. Put it in last place, and you can drastically shake up what we got going here. next week we will be playing to, I believe it's until we get to Sylvarant again, but I'm double checking my work here. So, yeah. So, yeah, we are going to be passing through the Otherworldly Gate, and the beginning of what this guide says is Chapter 6 is back in Paul McCosta on the other side. So
Paul McCosta.
Yeah, so we're not going back.
Best friend.
We're not going back to Paul McCartney yet, but we are completing whatever happens at the Otherworldly Gate, which obviously sounds like the road back to Sylvarant. So, yeah, we are going to do that. If you like what you hear and you want to go and fuck up Anachronox's day, you can do so at our website on www.rpgbook.club and go and vote there. While you're there, once you donate, you will also get access to Book Club no Kaseki. We're coming up on the end of the first game, and it's a wild ride. Next week we finish all but the last dungeon. So we're like 2 weeks out from finishing the first game. Great time for you to come in and check it all out. Other than that, we have a email to read, but A, we're running long. B, Maddy's not here, so I will read
Let's
that next time.
Let's do it next week. Yeah.
I didn't read it
I'm
last
sure they'll understand.
I didn't read it last week because you weren't here, and now Maddy's not here.
Damn
so
it.
We'll never ever be able to read it.
It's a cursed email. It's always going to ensure that no one, like one person, is missing every time we try to read it.
Yeah. But that'll do it for the week. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Grace Webbin.
My name is Maddy. We love you, Maddy.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye.
Something? I can only mute myself, huh?
Yeah, you can hit the little...
Okay, I'm muting myself so that you don't hear the shit that I'm doing. Okay, bye.
Perfect.
Great.
So we don't have to hear Maddy beating off.
I was about to say, oh, someone's getting laid.